Hello to all. The information I'm about to read is taken from www.exposingchristianity.com. The Torah and living blood sacrifice. I'm writing this article because I'm so fed up with the endless stream of idiots who make YouTube videos and websites that expose Jewish ritual murder on the one hand and with the other support Christianity, the Bible, the Nazarene, and blame all of this on Satan. Some of these authors were actually Jewish and know what they are doing in regards to trying to blame it on Satan and the pagan genital gods, while other, mostly Christians, have shit for brains. Most of these idiots who have shit for brains, nearly always a Christian, are either too lazy, not motivated, or of course who lack the necessary intelligence to really read the Jewish Torah for what it is, the Old Testament. The entire Torah is chock full of the Jewish God's instructions on how to properly perform living blood sacrifices, and for the Christian double-digit IQ idiots who try to make excuses in regards to the New Testament and Jesus is a human blood child sacrifice. In addition to this profound stupidity, the level of Christian intelligence is so low it is unbelievable. It never seems to occur to these biblical thumping morons that whine about Jewish ritual murder and quote the Talmud that the Talmud is in fact a rabbinical commentary on the Torah. And what is the Torah? The Torah is the first 5 books of the Old Testament of the Bible that these Christians with shit for brains promote. That's right, the Old Testament. The same old crap that their priests and preachers spout out of their Christian churches every Sunday. Like I already stated, the extent of the stupidity is beyond shocking. Also, these buzzard-brained Christians would be at a total loss to show exactly where in their Bible Satan never even mentioned, let alone demanded any sacrifice at all, let alone a living blood sacrifice. Yet they accuse him of this innocently, as this creates a distraction. As I keep repeating, every ugly act and attribute of the Judeo-Christian God is blamed on Satan, yet few can see beyond this. Hardly anyone stops to think. Another thing I want to add here is how Christians and other related idiots twist everything. One glaring example I came across was a statement regarding how the name of pagan gods such as Baal were used by Jews, such as Hasidim founder Baal Shem Tov. This title means master of the good name, for one. This has to do with occult powers. It has nothing to do with the pagan god Baal. In Hebrew, the word Baal means husband or owner, and is related to a verb meaning to take possession of, for a man to consummate a marriage. The word Baal is also used in many Hebrew phrases denoting both concrete ownership as well as possession of different qualities in one's personality. Baal also, as I mentioned in the above, means master, so this word really has a very broad term. Given the extreme blasphemy and the degeneration against the pagan god Baal in the Goetia, the Lesser Key of Solomon, it is common sense that the Hebrews wouldn't be giving any sort of devotion to this pagan god or any other pagan gods for that matter. Any references that try to claim the Hebrews worshipped any pagan gods are to confuse the readers. With our own research, we have found that Baal is another name for the Philistine god Beelzebub. The endless Jewish blasphemy against Beelzebub should make a statement in itself regarding just how hated this pagan god is by the Jews. The quote directly below is from Bible Hub, the website article on Baal. Quote, "For with attribute, Lord of Covenant, Judges 8:33, Judges 9:4. Compare Judges 9:46, Nozmg 18:88, 4:7-8, Lord of Lies 2 Kings 1:2-3, 6:16, Philistine God 5, Beelzebub Matthew 12:24. Compare Baal." End of quote. I would also like to comment on the extreme similarity between the name Moloch and the Hebrew word Melech, which means king. King is another real loose term. So what does the Jewish Torah have to say regarding living blood sacrifice? For those of you who have any doubts, I strongly encourage you to do your own research, as there are numerous copies of the Jewish Torah here online. The story of the Jewish character Abraham about to sacrifice his son Isaac, as ordered by the alien god of theirs, is a blatant example that his mere willingness, without question as the story goes, indicates this was nothing out of the norm, nor was this an unusual request. Given his unquestioning readiness, this reveals this act of human child sacrifice was commonplace. In addition to the above, here are some very interesting and very revealing quotes from the Jewish website. Comment here, an educational forum for the examination of religious truth and religious tolerance. Blood ritual 3, human sacrifice, the Talmud and the Moloch problem. Lord God accepts human sacrifice. I'll direct the link in the description. Quotes from the above linked website. Blood ritual. Blood ritual is fundamental to Judaism. Some blood sacrifices, some blood defiles. Let's see what the Talmud doctrines are. The Babylonian Talmud, however, still permits Jews to sacrifice children to Moloch under certain conditions. Lord God accepts human sacrifice. First, let's get perspective. Some mistakenly believe human sacrifice is forbidden in the Old Testament. Certainly, some of the prophets railed against it, but in at least one book, Lord God accepts human sacrifice, and in another book, Lord God is appeased by human sacrifice. In the following account from the book of Judges, the Israelite warrior Jephthah is about to set off to make war on the Ammonites. In payment for victory, Jephthah promises Lord God he will sacrifice the first whatsoever that comes from his house to greet him upon his return. Unless Jephthah keeps oxen, sheep, goats, or chicken in his living room, he must accept the promised victim will be a human being. Notice that Jephthah does not promise to sacrifice an ox or a goat, etc. 30. And Jephthah vowed a vow unto the Lord, and said, If thou shalt without fail deliver the children of Ammon into mine hands, 31. Then it shall be that whatsoever come forth of the doors of my house to meet me, when I return in peace from the children of Ammon, shall surely be the Lord's, and I will offer it up for a burnt offering. Judges 11, 30-31. KJV. The first to pass through the doors of Jephthah's house upon his return is his only child, his beloved daughter. 34. The Jephthah came to Mizpeh unto his house, and behold, his daughter came out to meet him with timbrels and with dances, and she was his only child. Besides her he had neither son nor daughter. 35. And it came to pass, when he saw her, that he rent his clothes and said, Alas, my daughter, thou hast brought me very low, and thou art one of them that trouble me. For I have opened my mouth unto the Lord, and I cannot go back. Judges 11, 34-35, KJV. Let us reflect for a moment. We know Jephthah vowed to Lord God to sacrifice whatsoever first came out of the door of his house. We suspect Jephthah plans to sacrifice one of his servants. But when the whatsoever turned out to be Jephthah's daughter, Jephthah is surprised. Notice his daughter's reaction. 36. And she said unto him, My father, if thou hast opened thy mouth unto the Lord, do to me according to that which hath proceeded out of thy mouth. For as much as the Lord hath taken vengeance for thee of thine enemies, even of the children of Ammon. Judges 11:36 KJV. She expresses no surprise that Lord God would accept a human sacrifice, nor does she protest. She does not say, Father, let's use some common sense. None but perfect animals are permitted to be ritually sacrificed in Judaism. Notice that Jephthah's daughter too is a perfect sacrifice. She is a virgin. Notice that Lord God does not stop this human sacrifice as he stopped the sacrifice of Abraham's son. The Old Testament does not specify how Jephthah sacrifices his daughter, but following the correct methods for animal sacrifice, he would slit her throat first and drain her blood into a temple service vessel, cut off her arms, legs, and head, cut the torso in sections, remove her entrails, and wash them, pour, sprinkle, and smear her blood at the prescribed points around the altar and burn the flesh, or of course a priest might do this for him. Lord God is appeased by human sacrifice. As two separate offenses proving that giving one's seed to Molech is not idolatry, the difference is that if one sacrificed the Molech or caused his son to pass through the fire to some other deity, he is not punished. Rabbi Dr. Friedman. Following the Mishnah Sanhedrin 64a and 64b contain an arousing debate between the sages concerning the circumstances under which worshipping an idol is idolatry, which idols may be worshipped without indulging in the idolatry, which parts of child sacrifices and what combination are punishable, and how children may be sacrificed without violating Leviticus. Of late, numerous attempts have been made to prove that in sacrificing their children to Moloch, the Israelites simply thought that they were offering them in holocaust to Yahweh. In other words, the Malech to whom child sacrifices were offered was Yahweh under another name. The article goes on and tries to claim otherwise, but any fool can really see when reading the biblical book of Leviticus, for example, that the above statement speaks for itself. Here are more from the Come and Hear Jewish website. It is indeed unfortunate that the Jewish religion has not repudiated the doctrines that children may be sacrificed to Moloch. The doctrine, along with praise in the Jewish liturgy calling for the return of ritual blood sacrifice, see animal sacrifice, and the third temple, surely adds to credence to charge the Jewish engaged in the ritual blood sacrifice of children, repudiating the Talmud doctrines that approve of ritual sacrificing children under certain conditions would go a long way to create a good will between Judaism and people of the other religious faiths. The book of Leviticus is chock full of specific instructions how to and demands for living blood sacrifice. Below one direct quotes taken from the Jewish Torah. Given the extensive and horrendous treatment of innocent animals, it is no wonder that the Jewish invented the industrial farming. This sort of thing is in their nature. Leviticus 1:1. The Lord called to Moshe and spoke to him out of the tent of meeting, saying, Leviticus 1:2. Speak to the children of Israel, and tell them, when one of you offers an offering to the Lord, you shall offer your offering to the cattle from the herd and from the flock. Leviticus 1:3. If his offering is a burnt offering from the herd, he shall offer a meal without blemish. He shall offer it at the door of the tent of meeting, that he may be accepted before the Lord. Leviticus 1:5. He shall kill the bull before the Lord. Aaron's sons, the Kohanim priest, shall present the blood and sprinkle the blood around on the altar that is at the door of the tent of meeting. Leviticus 1:10. If his offering is from the flock, from the sheep, or from the goat, for a burnt offering he shall offer a meal without blemish. Leviticus 1:11. He shall kill it on the north side of the altar before the Lord. Aaron's sons, the Kohanim priests shall sprinkle his blood around on the altar. Leviticus 1:14. If his offering to the Lord is burnt offering of birds, and he shall offer his offering of turtle doves or of young pigeons. Leviticus 1:15. The Kohen priest shall bring it to the altar and wring off its head and burn it on the altar, and its blood shall be drained out on the side of the altar. And he shall take away its crop with its filth and cast it beside the altar on the east part, in the place of the ashes. Leviticus 1:17. He shall tear it by its wings, but shall not divide it part. The Kohen priest shall burn it on the altar on the wood, for that is on the fire. It is a burnt offering, an offering made by fire on a sweet savor to the Lord. Leviticus 3:1. If his offering is a sacrifice of shalom offerings, if he offers it from the herd, whether a male or female, he shall offer it without blemish before the Lord. Leviticus 3:2. He shall lay his head on the head of his offerings and kill it at the door of the tent of meeting, and Aharon's offer it without blemish before the Lord. Leviticus 3:2. He shall lay his hand on the head of his offering and kill it at the door of the tent of meeting, and Aharon's sons, the Kohanim, priests, shall sprinkle the blood on the altar round about. Leviticus 3:7. If he offers a lamb for his offering, then he shall offer it before the Lord. Leviticus 3:8. And he shall lay his hand on the head of his offering, and kill it before the tent of meeting, and Aharon's sons shall sprinkle its blood on the altar round about. Leviticus 3:12. If his offering is a goat, then he shall offer it before the Lord. Leviticus 3:13. And he shall lay his hand on his head and kill it before the tent of meeting, and the sons of Aharon shall sprinkle its blood on the altar round about. Leviticus 4:4. He shall bring the bull to the door of the tent of meeting before the Lord, and he shall lay his hand on the head of the bull, and kill the bull before the Lord. Leviticus 4:5. And the anointed Kohen's priest shall take some of the blood of the bull and bring it to the tent of meeting. Leviticus 4:6. The Kohen priest shall dip his finger in the blood and sprinkle some of the blood 7 times before the Lord before the veil of the sanctuary. Leviticus 4:7. The Kohen priest shall put some of the blood on the horns of the altar of sweet incense before the Lord, which is in the tent of meeting, and he shall pour out all the blood of the bull out at the base of the altar of burnt offering, which is at the door of the tent of meeting. Leviticus 4:11. The bull skin and all its flesh, with its head and with its legs, is its innards and its dung. Leviticus 4:12. Even the whole bull shall he carry forth outside the camp to a clean place where the ashes are poured out, and burn it on wood with fire. Where the ashes are poured out, it shall be burned. Leviticus 4:16. The anointed Kohen priest shall bring of the blood of the bull to the tent of meeting. Leviticus 4:17. And the Kohen priest shall dip his finger in the blood and sprinkle it 7 times before the Lord before the veil. Leviticus 4:18. He shall put some of the blood on the horns of the altar which is before the Lord, that is in the tent of meeting, and the rest of the blood he shall pour out at the base of the altar of burnt offering, which is at the door of the tent of meeting. Leviticus 4:24. He shall lay his hand on the head of the goat and kill it in the place where they killed the burnt offering before the Lord. It is a sin of offering. Leviticus 4:25. The Kohen priest shall take some of the blood of the sin offering with his finger and put it on the horns of the altar of burnt offering. He shall pour out the rest of its blood at the base of the altar of burnt offering. Leviticus 5:7. If he can afford a lamb, then he shall bring his trespass offering for that in which he has sinned, 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons, the Lord, one for a sin of offering, and the other for a burnt offering. Leviticus 5:8. He shall bring them to the Kohen priest, who shall first offer the one which is for the sin offering, and wring off its head from its neck, but shall not serve it completely. Leviticus 5:9. He shall sprinkle some of the blood of the sin offering on the side of the altar, and the rest of the blood shall be drained out at the base of the altar. It is a sin offering. Leviticus 7:2. In the place where they killed the burnt offering, he shall kill the trespass offering, and his blood he shall sprinkle on the altar around about. Leviticus 8:18. He presented the ram of the burnt offering, and Aharon and his son laid their hands on the head of the ram. Leviticus 8:19. He killed it, and Moshe sprinkled the blood on the altar around about. Leviticus 8:22. He presented the other ram, the ram of consecration, and Aaron and his sons laid their hands on the head of the ram. Leviticus 8:23. He killed it, and Moshe took some of its blood and put it on the tip of Aaron's right ear, and on the thumb of his right hand, and on the great toe of his right foot. Leviticus 8:24. He brought Aaron's son, and Moshe put some of the blood on the tip of the right ear, and the thumb of the right hand, and on the great toe of the right foot, and Moshe sprinkled the blood on the altar round about. Leviticus 9:12. He killed the burnt offering, and Aaron's sons delivered the blood to him, and he sprinkled it on the altar round about. Leviticus 9:18. He also killed the ox and the ram, the sacrifice of shalom offerings, which was for the people, and Aaron's sons delivered to him the blood which he sprinkled on the altar round about. Leviticus 16:14. He shall take some of the blood of the bull and sprinkle it with his finger on the mercy seat of the east, and before the mercy seat he shall sprinkle some of the blood with his finger 7 times. Leviticus 16:15. Then he shall kill the goat of the sin offering that is for the people, and bring his blood within the veil, and do with his blood as he did with the blood of the bull, and sprinkle it on the mercy seat, and before the mercy seat. Leviticus 16:18. He shall go out to the altar that is before the Lord, and make atonement for it, and shall take some of the bull's blood and some of the goat's blood, and put it on the horns of the altar around about. Leviticus 16:19. He shall sprinkle some of the blood on it with his finger 7 times, and cleanse it, and make it holy from the uncleanness of the children of Israel. Leviticus 17:11. For the life of the flesh is in the blood, and I have given it to you on the altar to make atonement for your souls, for it is the blood that makes atonement by reason of the life. Leviticus 22:29. When you sacrifice a sacrifice for thanksgiving to the Lord, you shall sacrifice it so that you may be accepted. Leviticus 22:19. That you may be accepted, you shall offer a meal without blemish of the bulls, of the sheep, or of the goats. Leviticus 22:20. But whatever has a blemish that you shall not offer, for it shall not be acceptable for you. Leviticus 22:21. Whoever offers a sacrifice of shalom offerings to the Lord to accomplish a will, or from a free will offering of the herd of the flock, it shall be perfect to be accepted. There shall be no blemish therein. Leviticus 22:22. Blind, injured, maimed, having a wart, festering, or having a running sore, you shall not offer these to the Lord, nor make an offering by fire of them on the altar to the Lord. Leviticus 22:23. Either a bull or a lamb that has any deformity or lacking in his parts, that you may offer for a free will offering, but for a vow it shall not be accepted. Leviticus 22:24. That which has its testicles bruised, crushed, broken, or cut, you shall not offer to the Lord, neither shall you do this in your land. Leviticus 22:25. Neither from the hand of the foreign shall you offer the bread of your God of any disease, because their corruption is in them. There is a blemish in them. They shall not be accepted for you. Leviticus 22:26. The Lord spoke to Moshe, saying, Leviticus 22:27. When a bull or a sheep or a goat is born, then it shall remain 7 days with its mother, and from the 8th day and thenceforth it shall be accepted for the offering of an offering made by fire to the Lord. Leviticus 22:29. When you sacrifice a sacrifice of thanksgiving to the Lord, you shall sacrifice it so that you may be accepted. Leviticus 23:19. You shall offer 1 male goat for a sin offering, and 2 male lambs a year old for a sacrifice of shalom offerings. Num 7:41. And for the sacrifice of shalom offerings 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 male goats, and 5 male lambs a year old. This was the offering of Shelumiel, the son of Tsurishadai. Deuteronomy 12:11. Then it shall happen that the place which the Lord your God shall choose to cause his name to dwell, there shall you bring all that he commanded you, your burnt offering and your sacrifices, your tithes and the heave offering of your hand, and all your choice vows which you owe to the Lord. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. Thank you for listening, and Hail Satan.